So I'm trying to film this for you quickly with the assistance of my spaghetti monster here. Okay, so you said that you're struggling with concealer and foundation, basically complexion, right? I know that you mentioned redness or, well, acneic skin. So when it comes to that stuff, for getting a better, I guess, foundation overall for your entire look is making sure you color correct before you start the process. So I've already used my moisturizer that I always use, and I've already used, I have a Hard Candy Sheer Envy primer, and I like it. I mean, it's not it's not like perfection by any means. However, it is available at Walmart and it's cheap. So I've already done that to my face. So my face is ready to rock. I have this. This is a little color correcting palette. It's not the best. It's a Wet n Wild. And so when you have, you struggle with acne, the green would be what you would use to help camouflage the redness and the blemish before you put on anything that's skin tone. I am luckily not having big breakouts right now, but I do have big bags, which would be where this yellow comes in. So this can help counteract blue tones and purple tones underneath the eyes here that you can clearly see. I don't have the best lighting right here. I can't do this at my makeup cabinet right now where I would normally want to do my makeup, just because somebody likes to get in there and yank everything out and turn the light on and off, and also likes to play on the stool. So we're doing this here, so hopefully you can kind of see. So this is really thick, and I like to just use a teeny tiny amount. You probably can't tell just because it's yellow. So it's not that much. It's not very thick. And I just gently pat that on. And I don't do this all the time, depending on how my skin is feeling. So if my skin's feeling a little bit dry, this can look super cakey, which is why I asked you about moisturizers and stuff like that, because if you said by the end of the day your skin kind of has that cakiness to it, yay, that this can definitely, any thicker products can make that a little bit worse, because when they move around with our skin's natural oils and sweat and things throughout the day, if it's thicker, you're gonna see it more as it moves. Okay. Alright, so there we go. Now, I know a lot of people do concealer underneath. Oh, my goodness, child. Oh, okay. This is what we're doing now. So I know a lot of people do concealer underneath their foundation, or concealer underneath their foundation and then do concealer on top. I have found with the thin skin underneath my eyes and in certain areas where I'm starting to show signs of aging, so you can see right there through my laugh lines and my little droopies. Oh, that gives me the cakey look if I put concealer underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start with my foundation, and I have to see which one I'm going to use today. So these are basically the same thing. They're just one shade different. They don't even look that different on the phone now that I'm looking at it. So these are the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundations. They are, I mean, some people don't have the best luck with them. They don't have a whole ton of shades. I like it, and I definitely prefer Maybelline Fit Me, but I don't have any of the Maybelline Fit Me in my right color right now because somebody got a hold of it and dumped it out. I mean, I'm not pointing fingers this time, but she's standing here with me. And there we go. That should be enough. Maddox Leia. So I'm going to take my sponge. So if you do have problems with breakouts, you don't want to use your sponge when it looks like this. You want to use a clean sponge or a clean foundation brush, which I had. Oh, here it is. So I don't normally use this. I like sponges, just I feel like it kind of gets in all those little spots more. It's easier for me to control. But yeah, in any case, I'm not, so I don't use this. You can use this. this is my makeup sponge. You want one that's clean, just so that you're not spreading old bacteria or old products back onto your skin if your skin has a tendency to react that way. So here we go. Got my product on there. And I do like 50,000 small dabs. This is really hard to do without good lighting. Now I'm trying to move around my piercing, but a lot of times I end up just going right over it because I'm trying to make sure that you get as much even coverage as possible. It means that you, hey, we're not doing that. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, don't growl. But yeah, so doing a lot of small controlled dabs gets a nice coverage. It's pretty even. And it helps especially if you have larger pores and things. I have some areas where I have some enlarged pores. It's not something I struggle with a whole ton. I know that that's a big concern. No, we're not doing piggyback rides. We're not doing piggyback rides. This is why I haven't done video yet, which I'm sure a lot of moms on here can relate to. Is there a specific reason we're doing this? Is it just because mom's doing it? Got mommy's powder? Okay. Sorry. I know it's kind of boring to go through it. So I always start at the bottom and work my way up. And I don't know why, but that's just kind of how I do it. And then You're done. Thank you. But that's just kind of how I always do it. So try to make sure you push it into the hairline. I go right over my eyebrows and right over my eyes. I try not to go too heavily underneath the eyes again with a caking problem. So the less layers you have of your products, the less likely you are to get that kind of buildup by the end of the day. So now I'm going to go through and bring it down my neck and into my ear. Okay, and then I end with the nose because I give the most attention to my nose. This is something I'm going to grab a compact for and actually look into the compact while I'm doing this, because I have a nose hoop here. A lot of people have nose rings, and then I have the enlarged pore. I have one in specifically at like the tip of my nose. It's kind of elongated and wonky looking, so it's important for me to get good coverage through the nose. So I spend the most time here. And just small dabs, and I use just kind of the tip, the corner area for this. You can kind of see just the tiniest, and going through and making sure really that where the nostril meets cheek is given really good coverage. She's slurping spaghetti noodles. Watching Bob Ross. Yeah, and on this side too, I've got some kind of weird stuff. I've got an old scar here. It was originally a chicken pox scar, and then I got a really big breakout there once, and it just literally like never healed. So, okay. So now that I've got foundation on, I'm going to quickly go through the rest of what I would do for my complexion. So then I have also Photo Focus Wet n Wild concealer in a shade lighter than my skin tone. I don't know how much product I actually have left, so I'm going to use the wand here. So I go underneath the eyes first, but I don't like, what in the world? Okay. But I don't leave it in this round shape, so I take it down a little bit, and you have the triangle of light. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but basically we're not, like, light would naturally fall if we walked around with great lighting all the time, which isn't possible, so that's why we're, you know, focusing on lights and shadows in the face with makeup. Then I also do just a little bit right at my Cupid's bow. I do just a dab right in the center of my butt chin. And we do little stripies through here. I don't bring it up that far just because I have a 5 head and I don't really like to draw a lot of attention to that. Probably be getting bangs at some point and then we won't even have to deal with this mess. But in any case, so I don't bring it up that far. Some people bring it up closer to the hairline. I don't really want to. And then a nice line, small line, down the bridge of my nose. Okay, so now I'm going to do the other eye underneath. I'm running out of time on my storage space and how much I can actually record here. And I'm going to be recording different sections of today's look just because I'm going to be doing a challenge entry just for fun. Kind of get the ball rolling. You guys should definitely participate if you're watching this. And also filming for Nicole DeSisto. Hoping I'm saying your name right. I'm really sorry. I still have a hard time pronouncing people's names when I haven't heard them out loud. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to use the same motion. Sponge, dab, 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 dab. Now this stuff dries pretty quickly. It's, again, a very thin product, which is what I like because of the buildup factor. I also have one that's a little bit heavier duty, a little bit thicker, gives a better coverage technically, but I have noticed that it does tend to feel kind of weird and greasy after a little while. Okay. So I really focus making sure that I blend it up into the lash line here so that there's not a stark line of where my tired mom eyes end and my makeup face begins. Carry that up through the cheekbones because that's where we want focus for our light. Dab, 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 dab. The teeniest, tiniest dabs. Yeah, hi. I need that. Thank you. Thank you. All right, right on that butt chin. Up through the forehead. And I try not to, again, get too wild and bring it up too far on the forehead for myself. And do underneath the eye. This side, so just small dabs. Don't beat yourself up here, but it definitely gets tiring. And then down through the nasal bridge. Okay. So now, pretty much wet it out my face. And I'm going to be using this powder will work, I'm sure. Hey, I need that brush. Thank you. You can see that? Yeah. So I've got powder here. This is actually Colorstay Aqua Revlon Mineral Makeup. So technically it's a foundation in and of itself. It's a powder foundation. I don't always like to do powder foundations. I used to do that a lot when I was younger, but now I just use it as kind of doubling up on coverage without necessarily doubling up on feeling like I'm wearing really heavy makeup. Because my skin feels like I can't breathe when I have way too much on. So then I use a big fluffy brush. This one's from Smashbox. I have no idea what number it is or what its name is, if it has some crazy name. It was one that I technically purchased in a kit for school that was mandatory when I went to the Aveda Institute of Portland, and it's worked great for me for years. So I just try to keep it clean and use it to apply my powders and my bronzer, that sort of stuff when I use bronzer. Lord have mercy, what are you doing back there? So this is just really to set everything so that it doesn't move around throughout the day as much. But it can leave you feeling like, wow, I look kind of matronly. It's very, very matte finish. And that's where we're at right now, but we're going to fix that now. So I'll be perfectly honest. I do have a blush brush. I don't know where it is right now. Little Miss over here might have squirreled it away. So instead I'm going to use Big Fluffy Brush, which does work in a pinch, for blush brush. So you just have to be a little bit careful with your application. What blush do I want to use? What am I doing on my eyes? This blush will be fine. Yeah, but you do want to be careful with the big brushes just because you can apply too much of a color or have too broad of a band. I mean, I do that a lot. I'm kind of a blush freak. I use a lot of blush. So just be aware of when you're applying. The rule generally, again, not real rules because it is makeup and everybody can interpret it how they want to, is like 2 finger widths apart from your nose is where you want to start your blush. Or, I mean, mine's basically essentially like right directly underneath the eye. And then you want to sweep it up towards the temples. And you never want to go below where the natural, can't really, I'm gaining weight right now, so you can't totally see, but where that natural kind of contour in the skin is when people contour and create those lines. Yeah, you want to follow the general basic thing of not below that, not underneath the eye, and not within 2 finger widths of your nose. I'm not ever real super careful with my blush when I do my first application. I'll be honest, it can look a little bit streaky, but I know that I'm going to go back through with the highlight and with bronzer, and it's going to help to kind of blend it out, and I don't want to blend out all the pigment. So already looking a little bit more human. Great. Oh, actually I should keep that to the side. Boop, 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 ba-doo. Da, da. Bonk, bonk. You okay? Hi, bonkers. So I've got, this is a MAC bronzer. I also have an e.l.f. bronzer that I like, but you have to be super careful because you can end up looking like you're just, I don't know. It'd be like a gold tin man. Keep your hands back. So this is a little bit more subtle, which I think works better for me in the colder weather just because it seems like it's a little bit harsher in the winter months to wear the e.l.f. one. So I go through, kind of dust a little bit through the forehead, underneath the blush. Yeah, you're not really supposed to put it through there, but I like the way it looks. And then I sweep a little bit down the neck so that everything kind of matches. Really? That's what we're doing? Okay. So before I do my highlight, I actually am going to use the contouring palette from Wet n Wild to do a little bit of the, well, technically it's highlighting, but it's a matte highlight. So it's just a really, really light color of powder that I'm going to use my contour brush for underneath my eyes. She's so mad right now. So this brush, and I do one sweep through there. Okay, I love you. I love you. And then again, right underneath here. Sometimes if I feel like I want a little bit of a harsher contrast or, you know, more defined features in my face, I will contour through my cheekbones here. I'm not going to do that today for the sake of time and my sanity with this one. So this is again, Wet n Wild. I have a thing for really cheap makeup, I guess. Wet n Wild, their Fergalicious line that they had for a while that went out and started being sold at Dollar Tree. I swooped this up and I friggin' love it. It's a nice, light, pinky color. And it gives great shine. It's a pretty even formula, I feel like. I don't know if you're going to be able to see any of this. I'll try to actually show a close-up of my face momentarily. So I sweep that across the tops of my cheekbones. And then I do a little bit of the head tilt to be able to see, am I gonna like the shine? Am I gonna like how it looks, or do I feel like I need more? Because I am a highlight whore. All right.
Whoa, whoa.
Hi, Maddie.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi.
I'm gonna need that, thank you. I'm gonna do the other side now. Now, the reason I do this after the bronzer is just because I want it to show up more. I don't know how other people do it, to be honest. I've always been fairly happy with how my complexion has turned out when I do my makeup, so it's not been anything that I've really focused on with tutorials and kind of paying attention to what the latest trends are. Now I'm going to put a little bit through the bridge of my nose, a little bit right there. Above the Cupid's bow. There we go. Okay, not bad. So, the biggest tip here at the end, now that I have 1 minute left, and I've actually completed what I would normally do, and a little bit more than I would normally do, for my foundation is... and concealer, so you can see the highlight. Hey, you can also see my messy house, so just ignore that. That's the sponge that I was showing you guys earlier. She tore it up in the background. This guy right here, this is a hydrating, what is it, Prep and Prime. So basically it's the Fix Plus spray from MAC, and what it does is it adds hydration to the face. A lot of people use it before it's part of the priming, you know, steps. However, I like to use it after, because if you spray it far away, it's a really fine mist, or it would be if it was fuller. You can see that's at, like, at the end of its life here, and it's probably going to be a little bit bigger droplets than normal. But it can add life to a look that is feeling cakey, or a look that's feeling like, oh man, I look a little dusty, a little old, a little aged here, or you feel like things are settling in the skin. A lot of times too, if you need to go back and correct something, you just spritz this on your face. Here we go. I'm going to hold it about arm's length. 3 quick sprays. And then you can use your sponge and go back through and kind of dab in those areas that you feel like have settled into fine lines. I'm going to end this now, but thanks for watching. If you watched the whole thing, hopefully that's helpful.